All right, we've got ourselves a Warriors at Suns matchup late in the regular season. Big matchup for the Phoenix Suns as they are in need of some wins to try to avoid the play-in. The Warriors are trying to lock in the number 5 seed in the Western Conference, and it's going to be a doozy. Phoenix playing a little bit better as of late, 39-38. Golden State still not all the way there health-wise, but playing better now that they're slowly getting their pieces back together as we're in the desert. This is going to be a heck of a matchup between two teams that have seen each other in conference finals. Javon Roll, Jacoby Cleaves, there's a starting lineup as the Warriors are back healthy with their starting 5. Cade Cunningham, Deontay Dixon, the big matchup at the wing position as Cunningham has moved to the 3 this season. That's a look at Jacoby Cleaves. He's had a down year for the Phoenix Suns as we're underway in the desert. Can the Warriors take down the Suns in what's kind of amounting to a bit of a tune-up game here? Kind of a big season for Phoenix as, stop me if you heard me, but don't. 19-point lead, second half, Game 7, NBA Finals a year ago. As Javon Roll gets that one to go, flexes on him, a quick 5-0 start. They have not had the type of follow-up season that many would have expected, many would have hoped from Phoenix. And part of that is because that man right there, Jacoby Cleaves, has not really had the explosive season that many expected as Deontay Dixon going at a little slam cam action, going at Carson Hughes on the wing. That's, if you look at Phoenix's, first let's take a look at the standings. This is what Phoenix is trying to play for. Avoid falling out of the play-in as they're tied currently with Las Vegas and trying to get on that 7-8 side. They are scrambling here late. Cade Cunningham triple goes in to get things rolling. But the big storyline around this Phoenix team has kind of been around Carson Hughes, their starting point guard. Really talented scorer. A bit of a challenge on defense as he gets scored upon there. Now, what he does great is this, scoring offensively. Carson Hughes can get to the rack. What he cannot do, and we're going to probably see a lot of it tonight as Jacoby Cleaves lines up and buries a triple to tie us at 15, is this Golden State team probably is going to attack him as there goes inside Dele Bagley on Carson Hughes. That's a question mark, and part of the starting lineup for this team with Carson Hughes and Anthony Edwards as your starting 1 and 2 has pushed Cade Cunningham to the small forward position. A lot of that is out of necessity ever since they lost Malik Hightower during the summer to Charlotte. So they haven't really been able to have another third option as Carson Hughes buries another triple. But Phoenix, they've necessitated this change, but I don't think that's made this team better. So I would assume a priority for this team, which if you look at any other team in the league, priority is going to be getting a new wing. Or a second wing next to Cleaves as Cade Cunningham gets that to go. I also wouldn't be surprised if this team finds their way to try to get at somebody who doesn't quite dominate the basketball as much, open up an opportunity for Jacoby Cleaves, because that's the big question mark right now for Phoenix is what's happened to Jacoby Cleaves, former MVP, all NBA player. He's just hasn't taken a lot of shots. He's averaging less than 15 shots per game. He's under 20 points per game, and that's because Cade Cunningham, Carson Hughes, Anthony Edwards are all big shot takers for this group as we're late second quarter here as Brandon Boston, he's their bench piece coming in, scoring 2. And this is a 2-point game right now for Golden State. Kick out, Javon Roll triple, buried, and it's back to 5. And so for Phoenix, I think that's going to be the big question mark, and how this season ends for them. Does it end in the play-in as Deontay Dixon just pretty much unstoppable regardless of who's guarding him? What does this team do, and what does this offseason look like for Phoenix? Because they're fighting for their play-in lives, and as they try to tie this thing up and successfully do that, as they're fighting for that here midway through the game, if they fall out of the play-in and don't even make the play-in, what does that mean for Jacoby Cleaves, who is going to be a free agent at the end of next season? Does he start looking at the exit as a 27-year-old? Cade Cunningham is 32, still playing at a very, very high level. But what does he consider for the future as Deontay Dixon gets another triple to go and calls the timeout here for Phoenix? And where is where is Carson Hughes in that? Is Javon Roll instigating the crowd a little bit on the road as he gets the and one, pushing this to a 9-point game? Jacoby Cleaves, though, trying to stay the tide. He does that indeed, and we're back to a 53-46 matchup. Here's Caden Dickerson, little midi over the top of Lawrence Marcota as Golden State trying to pull away here in this third quarter. Deontay Dixon, another three, and it's a 10-point lead for the Golden State Warriors. Carson Hughes, though, trying to figure out something. Lawrence Marcota inside, easy bucket. That one to go on, I believe that was Lynn Gardner, and that's a tough guard. Jacoby Cleaves dunking that one on the rookie Bagley, and here's Tomas Bajza, and a quick run has the Phoenix Suns back within 4. So down by 10, back to within 4, quick +6. Brandon Boston left open, triple, and we've got ourselves a basketball game headed to the fourth quarter. Let's lock in every single make, every single miss here in this fourth quarter. Playing for their playoff lives are the Phoenix Suns, and Anthony Edwards gets that to go, pushes the lead in favor of the Phoenix Suns. Next possession down. Here's Edwards, guarded by Bagley. Freed up is Cunningham. Triple, wide open. And the Suns are on top by 4. Timeout by Golden State. Trying to free up Javon Roll on top. He thinks he's got a little avenue of space, and he makes them pay. 63-62, we're back. Javon Roll, the former Finals MVP, pull-up, midi, goes. And back on top it goes as Javon Roll yelling at the crowd. Answering on the other end, though, are the Phoenix Suns, and back and forth we go here. Turnover. That's going to be pushing in transition. Come the Suns. Cade Cunningham picks up and kicks to Anthony Edwards. Mid-range, over the top. 2 defenders won't go. Rebound for the Warriors. Trailing by 2, 5.5 to go. Freeing up Javon Roll. Deep. Mid-range, that's off the side of the rim and out. Rebound by Cunningham. Next possession for Golden State. Down by 2 after some free throws for the Suns, and with ease. Deontay Dixon, there's just probably the only matchup would be Jacoby Cleaves here that could slow down Deontay Dixon. Here's Anthony Edwards. He gets that to go, and Phoenix stemming the tide on the other direction. Leading here by 3, 4.5 to go in a pivotal must-win fourth quarter. Deontay Dixon right past Carson Hughes. That's going to be the man they target as much as they possibly can. Cade Cunningham, a little step through, kicks out. Anthony Edwards, Marcota, deep 3 at the shot clock. Does not fall. 70-68, under 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Here's Roll, guarded by who else? Carson Hughes, as he has been the target. Left open was Cleaves, doesn't want the triple. Inside easily on Caden Dickerson, the former MVP, showing off. A little bit of space there from Javon Roll. Doesn't pull the trigger. Instead, driving on, you guessed it, Carson Hughes. And we've got ourselves a tie game with under 3 to go. Handoff. Hughes. Dribbling. Pull-up. Jumper. Over Javon Roll. That goes. And Carson Hughes might be getting attacked defensively. But offensively, he is answering the bell. Here comes Javon Roll. Kicks. Corner. Triple. Deontay Dixon won't go. Rebound for Marcota. And Phoenix, thinking about a 4-point lead. Won't get it. Good defense there by Dixon on Marcota. Isolation here from Dixon on Carson Hughes. Dribbling right past, easily up and in. And let's get another look at Deontay Dixon picking on Carson Hughes. Hand in the face doesn't matter. And the stare down as he lands. Tie ball game. After a turnover on the other end, Golden State trying to take the lead with under 2 to go. Slapped out of here. Get that weak stuff back. Cade Cunningham pushing in transition. Kicks it inside. Foul on Jacoby Cleaves. And that'll send him to the line to take the lead with under 2 to go. He does a pair of free throws. Here's Javon Roll. Guarded by Hughes. Trying to get the isolation. Spins inside. Difficult shot, but easily made by Javon Roll. Step back jumper. Hughes goes in, but down goes Hughes. Clutching at his knee. It looked like Javon Roll might have stepped underneath him on that jump shot, and Carson Hughes is going to gingerly walk off the floor with 1:18 to go. A stunned silence here in Phoenix. 2-point game. Pull up, triple. Javon Roll gets it. And the Warriors back on top by 1, just over a minute to go. Here comes Edwards, driving on Roll, blocked by Roll. 40 seconds to go. Javon Roll up by 1, trying to get something to go. Pull up over the top of Anthony Edwards. Now the loss of Hughes hurts him offensively, but you might think that's an addition defensively, and Anthony Edwards can't get it to go. Offensive board, Lawrence Marcota can't get that to go. Free throws, first one missed by Javon Roll. Second one up and good. 2-point game. We'll see if that missed free throw comes back to haunt the Golden State Warriors. Inbound to Cunningham. over to Anthony Edwards. A little miscommunication. Swings it over for Cleaves. Swings it over to Cunningham. Left wide open is Edwards. Triple. Gets it to go. And the Phoenix Suns take the lead. Warriors have 2 timeouts. They choose not to use it. Under 10 seconds to go, down by 1. Roll up top. Screen coming from Dixon. 2 seconds. Roll. Inside. Step back. Jumper. Won't go. And the Phoenix Suns are going to hold on for an 81-80 win in a must-win game for the Phoenix Suns at home. They get the job done thanks to Anthony Edwards' triple. All right, and there's our final 122-120. The Phoenix Suns, thanks to a three-pointer from Anthony Edwards, get things done in a absolutely massive must-win game at home. 38 points from Deontay Dixon, not enough. 48 points in back-to-back 40-plus point nights from Javon Rolls. He's coming back from injury. Not enough. Quiet night from Kuminga, just 7 points. This is the challenge for this Warriors team. Do they have other options that can score for them in these big games? You just look at the rest of these stat lines. Nobody else finished in double figures except for the 48 and the 38 from Deontay Dixon. It's a must-win game for Phoenix. They get that win as we're going to fast forward to the end of the regular season. And there are your final Western Conference standings. They are set. Phoenix surging late, but it's not going to matter. They end up with the 9 seed and book themselves a play-in matchup with Utah, who also surged to get to number 8, but it's going to be Seattle and Oklahoma City awaiting what goes on in the play-in. We'll get to that in just 1 second. Everything else, it's going to be Sacramento and Los Angeles. That should be a fantastic matchup. The first time these two teams have played since the 2002 Western Conference Finals. Kings, Lakers going back at it, and then the Wolves and the Warriors in the 4-5. This is the first time since 2023 that the Golden State Warriors are not going to be a top 3 team, let alone top 4. First time in more than a decade that they will not be having home court advantage to start off their postseason run as they take on Abiz Ojale and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Let's go to the play-in the Western Conference. This is a huge play. First, Las Vegas. They stumble on their way out, they drop out, and they're going to be 11. So it's a huge season. Already been a great season for the Houston Rockets as they get really more than anybody really expected from this group, but a great season from D.D. McDyess. Very likely he gets to be Rookie of the Year. Great season from Darnell Gist as he could be an all-NBA big man. This is a season as we take a look at what's going to happen, right, in the play-in. This is a win for Houston. The fact that the Houston Rockets are sitting there and saying, hey, we're going to get to play in meaningful basketball down the stretch. We've got our star. We've got a really good point guard who can play next to him in Cole Herringody. Cole Herringody is not elite by any stretch, but Cole Herringody is good. 8 assists, 40% three-point shooter. Can't fault that from a guy in his second year. D.D. McDyess, great rookie season. 20 points, 7 boards, 5 assists. And then, of course, Darnell Gist with a nearly a 50-40-90 season from a center, 26.5 and 10. This is a win. This is a win for Houston, and they're going to play meaningful basketball against the Phoenix Suns, who are facing absolutely must-win basketball for this group. If Phoenix doesn't beat Houston in this first play-in matchup, I think we're looking at a massively, potentially just roster changing, right? You've got Jacoby Cleaves, who's had a really good season so far, 18 points per game. He's been down on shooting. It's a question mark, but the big question mark for Jacoby Cleaves is he's got just 1 year left on his contract. As we look ahead, he's 27 years old. He's got 1 year remaining when he's going to be 28. He's going to make $44 million. And the question mark is going to be hovering over this team. Is Jacoby Cleaves going to ask for a trade? Is he going to run it out? We saw a season ago, last summer, it was Jalen Justice, who's 29 years old, just 2 years older, asking for an exit route from the Toronto Raptors, or at least saying, I'm not going to re-sign. If Jacoby Cleaves, they miss the postseason, and you look at the rest of this roster, you've got Anthony Edwards, who just signed a massive contract extension. He's 33. You've got Cade Cunningham, who's a free agent to be this season. He's 32. You've got Carson Hughes, who's got 1 year remaining. He's 25. I think the Suns have to look at this team and say, do we think that the future of Cleaves and Hughes, because that's what it is, you could probably throw in Lawrence Marcotta, right? He just signed that extension as well, 22 years old. If you can build around those three guys, then maybe you don't feel as bad. But this is a team that made it to the NBA Finals a season ago, was a 19-point lead at the half, in the third quarter even, of Game 7 on the road, and they lost all of that, and they lost to the Orlando Magic. If they don't beat Houston, what type of repercussions are going to come from it? And then San Antonio and Utah in our other ones. Huge, huge implications for this one. If they don't make the postseason, is Jalen Justice coming back? He's got that, of course, $49 million contract that's expiring. He'll be a free agent this season. He didn't have a great season, did not shoot it well from deep. Pretty low usage for a guy that's won 3 MVPs. Last season led the league in scoring with 32 points per game. This pairing of Dixon and Justice, I don't know that it can't work out, but it certainly didn't work out this season. Utah made it to the conference, or made it to the postseason last season. They lost in 7 to Phoenix in the opening round, and then they're facing a really tough San Antonio team. So one of these three, San Antonio, Utah, and Phoenix, is not going to make the postseason. What type of ramifications come from that? That's going to be huge. We'll do a quick preview of each of those in just 1 second. Let's go to the Western or the Eastern Conference. So Chicago, they ran away with the top seed. Brooklyn edges out Indiana to be the number 2 seed. That matters. Why? Because the 4, 5, 6. We talked about this on a previous episode. The top 6 in the East is good. Everything below that, major question mark. So Chicago, they're going to await the winner of that 8 seed matchup. Brooklyn is going to get the afterwards. Indiana, Charlotte, huge matchup. Robert Mack going up against CJ McCoy in terms of star power. Boston and Milwaukee, the Bucks have been surging. One of the top 4 records in the Eastern Conference since Dwayne Qualls came back. They are finally playing like it. But let's go to the play-in because that's what we're looking at first. So, first matchup. Orlando and Miami. The battle for Florida, winner is going to get Brooklyn. Orlando is going to be without Jalen Green. That's your lineup going in. All the weight in the world on the shoulders of Trey Hunter, who had a really good season, 43% from deep, 24 points, 8 assists. Great year from the 32-year-old, finals MVP a year ago. But no one to help. Jason Tatum hasn't really had a great season for the second time in a row. Trayvon Bukes is good, but he's best served as the 4th guy, even if he had a great Game 7 that kept him alive in that one a year ago. They're without Elton Dawkins in this one, so just so many question marks on this Orlando matchup. And then let's go to Miami. They're without their center. No Cameron Sullivan, which means all the weight in the world falls on the shoulders of John Morant, who at 35 had a great season, 26 and 6. Awesome year for the future Hall of Famer. What can they put together? I don't know that the winner of this game is going to do anything against Brooklyn. And then Cleveland and New York. Cleveland's walking in, the big question mark with no LaMelo Ball. What's going to happen with Jair Dooling this coming offseason? He might be the only guy that is worth anything in the open market. With so many teams believing, I would say the top 6 in each conference, at least in the Eastern Conference, and then the Western Conference is probably top 9, thinks they can win a championship. And the Cleveland Cavaliers are stuck in this no man's land between, are we going to be good right now or are we going to be bad right now? And Jair Dooling has made them relevant, but that is all they are. And if they could fetch something for the 25-year-old, it would seem like maybe too big of a swing, but that might be the question that Cleveland is encountering here on the other side of the New York. As disappointing as this season has been for New York, I have always felt like this was where it was going to end up. They don't have any other pieces besides Louis Morgan and Ezekiel Morrow. Corey Wilson is a solid starting 5. Joseph Corzine is a solid 6th man. Aiden Nyama probably would be better as a 7th, or as a 6th, 7th, 8th guy. Same thing, Anton Forte. They just don't have a ton of talent after their top 2 who they got in that big summer swing. They've got cap space this summer. They've got at least $30 million. They could find their way into getting a little bit more. This has been where you would expect it, even if the New York Knicks aren't super excited about that. So let's start with the matchups. Let's preview them. Who do we got? Orlando and Miami. Give me Orlando in this one. Trey Hunter, reigning Finals MVP. He's been a great player all season long. I think this team is just going to find a way with him. They're at home. I just don't see Trey Hunter going out at home in a series against Miami. Miami's good, but they have way too many guards. I mean, this is a team that's going to have to address this. You look through their bench here. Anyone that's a rotation guy, pretty much Carson Nash on. That's a guard right there. Carson Nash, 6'1". Travion Taft, 6'2". Desmond Cooper, 6'5", can play the wing, but he's undersized. They've got no center depth behind Sasha Kasparov if he runs into foul trouble. Damian Pack has had a good assist season, but he's still just a raw athlete at this point in his second year. You look at his scoring numbers and his field goal percentage are just not there. So can anybody else besides John Morant get rolling? Give me Orlando in that one. And then give me the New York Knicks. Without LaMelo Ball, I just don't see how this group, as we look at it right here, I don't see how this team is going to contend with a combination of Louis Morgan and Ezekiel Morrow. I just don't see that happening. These guys are too good. They've got the two best players in this series, even if Jair Dooling's a good one. So give me New York there, and then give me Miami over New York to make it in as the 8th seed. So I would expect to see the Orlando Magic face off against the Brooklyn Nets, and the Miami Heat and the Chicago Bulls go to work. Let's go to the Western Conference. San Antonio hosting the Utah Jazz in the 7 and the 8 matchup. I like the Utah Jazz in this. They've won 4 straight games coming into the postseason run. A lot of that has been without Darius Dixon in the lineup. Darius Dixon goes down on the 3rd, leaves that game early, and look at the numbers that Jalen Justice put up in his absence. Now, he returned on the 13th as they rounded out their regular season, but you look at those last 3 games, and this is where Jalen Justice proves he's still an MVP guy, and it's why I don't think he's coming back to Utah. 27-8-13, 27-10-10, 29-4-10 in wins over Milwaukee, who's a playoff team, Indiana, who's a playoff team, Sacramento, who's a playoff team, and then they round out, they get Darius Dixon back for the Boston game. Jalen Justice looked like the MVP type of guy, the 3-time MVP that he could be. Higher shot volume, 18, 20, 20, 25. That matters. That matters that Jalen Justice could do that. So give me Jalen Justice and the Darius Dixon combination against the Spurs. And this has been a great season for Houston, but I don't think it's ending. Or I do think it's ending here. I just don't see Phoenix losing this game. Jacoby Cleaves is too good. They ended the regular season with Carson Hughes coming off the bench. We'll see if they use that lineup again. It moves Cade Cunningham back to the point guard position where I think he just creates a mismatch for pretty much everybody that he's going to face off against. Just at 6'6", dominant big man, when he is rolling. But the numbers for all of these guys has just been really bad this season. So give me Jacoby Cleaves in a 1-game series against a Houston team that's just happy to be there. And then that would put Phoenix and San Antonio in the next one. Give me Phoenix in that one. Give me Phoenix over San Antonio to get the 8 seed. So I've got Utah being the 7 seed facing Oklahoma City, and I've got Phoenix being the 8 seed facing off against the Seattle Sonics. But again, one of these 3 teams is not going to be in the postseason. San Antonio, with a really great team, you can make the argument maybe they don't have a superstar in the same way that Phoenix and Utah does, but I still like the depth of this group. You look at about a 7-8-man rotation that I feel pretty confident in. And then Mateo Delgado has shown he went toe-to-toe with Jacoby Cleaves a season ago. He can turn it on. Sidney Cross has been fantastic. They might have to face a big question. Utah might have to face the big question mark of this rotation closing out if this is maybe the last time we see Jalen Justice. And then, of course, what happens with Phoenix? Does Cade Cunningham think he can return? Do they try to move Anthony Edwards? Is Carson Hughes going to go out the door? So many question marks could come from the conclusion of this one, depending on what happens between San Antonio and Phoenix there in the Western Conference. We're coming back. We'll recap. We'll show the closing minutes of the relevant and the competitive play-in games, and then we will lock in and do a full postseason preview on the next episode of the Golden Era.